The Bible tells us that Achan fell in love. He didn't fall in love with a woman or a piece of art. It wasn't some fancy chariot or a piece of land. It wasn't anything like that. What Achan fell in love with was wealth. You know, some expensive clothes, 200 silver coins, and about $36,000 in gold. A small fortune indeed. So there's Achan. He's looking at all of this wealth, and the Bible says he fell in love. Actually, it's the same word the Bible uses when the angel says to Daniel that he is greatly loved. Now, most often when the Bible uses this word for love, it's a good thing, but not for Achan. You see, it's one thing to greatly love people, but it's another thing to greatly love wealth so much that it leads a person to sin. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. Now maybe you're wondering, oh, okay, but what's the harm? I mean, it's not as if he actually stole the money from anybody. After all, the person who used to own it was now dead. So what's the harm in taking, wealth that doesn't have an owner? Actually, it did have an owner. God had laid a claim on all of the wealth that would be obtained in every battle. Now, why would God do that? I mean, it's not like he needed the money, right? After all, he does own the cattle on 1,000 hills, so to speak. Well, the reason God claimed the wealth is because he didn't want the children of Israel to fall into the habit of killing people for their wealth. That's what the other nations did. They killed people for their wealth, and God did not want his people to be motivated by greed, rather by his will. This problem of killing people showed up in the camp of Jacob. Jacob's sons and servants decided to kill the inhabitants of Shechem as revenge for the rape of Dinah. In the process, they murdered every man, woman, and child, and then they stole the wealth of that entire city. What they stole, like Achan, also included expensive clothes, idols made of silver and gold. Basically, it was blood money, and Jacob ordered his entire family to bury the whole lot because they were not going to go into God's presence having profited from the murder of innocent people. Fast forward some 400 years later, and God does not want his people to go to war motivated by greed. God knew that once that spirit infected his people, it would be hard to eradicate. Achan and his family paid a high price for one man's greed. But like all sin, it has to be cut out before it took root and infected an entire nation with the same spirit of greed the way it did Jacob's sons. Well, that was our nugget for today. Again, thank you for stopping by. I'll see you tomorrow.